Atlanta, Georgia. So we're going to head north a little bit. Probably into Tennessee. And see just about where I can go. Trying to find some cooler weather. And just loving people all on the road. And yeah, right there's a sign that says, "Welcome to Georgia. Sweet Georgia on your mind." Well, today's theme seems to be going the same direction. And I think it was a way of God actually revealing a valuable lesson my father once told me. Today, as I was doing my work for the Lord in the prayer van, I started getting discouraged. It only seemed like, well, I had two people. That's the only two people that came up to talk to me all day. And I traveled over 200 miles, stopped 7 to 10 times, and only two people. But the one conversation was a conversation of a young pastor that wanted me to pray with him, saying that he really thinking about giving up because some weeks there's only one or two, some weeks there's 10, some weeks there's none that show up. I told him I understand how that feels, and I understand why he does what he does, and what happens with the people out there. And I told him, I says, but you got to understand one thing, and that's we're doing it for the Lord, not for who's there. And 5 minutes ago, not knowing that I was back on the road, a gentleman that runs our Bible study at church calls me up and says that he was going to cancel his Bible study because there was only two people basically that go. And I'm not thinking, it just sort of what got me thinking about it, Just remember, guys, we're warriors out there in the world, and the promise I made the Lord when I first got saved is, Lord, give me the opportunity to just pass along to just one person the gift that you've given me. And you know what? If I have to drive thousands of miles and beg along the highway to even eat, even if I run out of gas and have to sit there for 3 or 4 days, I mean, this is part of the thing that happens to me all the time. You got to realize I work this in faith. I have no income, so what little jobs and things I can find along the way, I do, and try to use that to keep on going with the ministry. But the Lord's always blessed me in many ways and has showed me that He's backed me up and He stands behind me. He's given me people that has been angels to me to help me, and when the crunch time comes, it seems like He's always there for me. But the biggest lesson that I learned was, the lesson from my father, and it was when we were singing as kids. And we would go to churches. Some churches would be hundreds. Most churches was 30, 40, 50 people. We've been to churches to where there was only the pastor and his wife and the 2 kids. But you know what? The biggest and the most blessing that I've ever received from my singing when I was young was at that exact church. It was a little church in Kentucky we went to, and we went there, and there was just the pastor and his wife and 2 kids sitting in the front row, and nobody else showed up. No air conditioning, just barely had, I think, a couple string lights hanging up in the sanctuary, hanging off the string, the old mining type of lights. And it The windows were boards, slats that flew out, you know, and was held up by sticks. I said, Dad, what are we going to do? He says, even if it's just practice, we're going to sing anyway. So sing the best you can. And we've got a whole family right here that's really needing us to sing for them tonight. So we're going to sing anyway. And so we started singing. All of a sudden, when no one was, we went to probably 3-4 songs and no one showed up. Dad says, crank it up. So we cranked it all the way up full blast. And we just let this PA system carry the music out through the land. All of a sudden, a couple of times during the next couple of songs, a couple of the doors would open up and a couple of people would walk down and sit in place. There was a few more people come in there. Within 20 minutes, that whole building was packed. Completely packed. And it started getting really hot, so Dad says, open up the slats a little bit more so let more air in here. So I went over to the side and I propped open the one window and raised it all the way up, and I was standing there in awe. And Dad come over and I said, Dad, you need to see this. So he comes over and we look out this window and people were sitting on the hillside bank. It's like the whole city was drummed and brought there. And you know what? We was usually only sing about 2 hours or so. I remember at least 60 people came to the altar that night. They were falling down at our feet, and as a young boy, this was, you know, very memorable, I guess, you know, to see the movement of the Lord move in that way in such a manner. And I mean, there was people getting saved right after another, and we would sing one song and it seemed like we would sing that song for 2 hours just over and over and over. We just kept on. It was really a wild experience, you know, for me, but what it showed me was a miracle. It showed me that, you know, if we consist and do one, the right people will show up. And that's always been something that's just been so amazing to me, you know, I guess that's why I have the faith, you know, it's all going to work out no matter what. I mean, so keep your faith, guys. You know, if you're out there being a warrior for the Lord, keep your faith. And be a warrior anyway. And just do whatever God asks you to do. And trust me, the right people, the ones that He needs to be touched, will show up. So anyway, I'm in Georgia. Probably going to drive over to the Walmart over here and see if I can bust out some change, maybe get something to cook in the van, and might just go on and find a shade tree somewhere and take it easy the rest of the evening. It's pretty hot, so I might have to run the air conditioner in the back. But say a prayer for me. I don't know where I'm going or how long I'm going to be there. I got a family reunion in 2 weeks up in Kentucky. I'm trying to mosey up that direction. And after that, I don't know. Just wherever God takes me, He'll take me. So, just say a prayer for me and keep me encouraged. And go as far as I can go with what I can, what I have. So, if you feel like helping us out, definitely do so through PayPal. You can check out James Daniel, My God Saved Me Too, at Comcast.net. And we'll be more than obliged. Thank you very much. Have a good day.